Does it ever feel like ChatGPT agrees with you a little too easily? Like no matter what idea you bring to it, it just kind of nods along? Sometimes it just feels like a sycophant, a yes person. And if you're using AI to help you make real decisions, that should make you a little nervous. Because having a yes person in the room might feel good, but that can quietly send you down rabbit holes that can cost you time and money. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. There is a way to actually get AI to tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. So let's talk about what this actually looks like. You sit down with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to workshop an idea. Maybe you're considering a pricing change or launching a new offer or debating whether to hire someone, or maybe you're on the fence about a sizable purchase. So you bring that idea to AI. But instead of challenging you, AI just starts building the case for you. It assumes your idea is valid, when what you really need is pressure testing. You want AI to play devil's advocate, to point out what you're doing right, but also what you might be overlooking and explain why. And here's the problem. If your original idea has weak assumptions baked into it, AI will often just amplify those weak assumptions. And that's how you end up spending hours refining a flawed idea, which turns into days polishing that flawed idea and then perhaps weeks executing it. And the whole time, you think you're being smart and strategic because you're using AI. But here's what you need to realize. By default, AI is trained to be polite and cooperative and agreeable. But polite and cooperative and agreeable are not the same thing as being correct. Let me give you a personal example. A few months back, I worked with ChatGPT to build out a marketing funnel for my business. On the surface, the marketing funnel looked great. The messaging was clean, the logic made sense, and I just assumed AI knew all the right answers. So I just followed along. We built out that marketing funnel. And guess what? It did not work. In retrospect, the problem was obvious, but at the time, I didn't see it. AI was just telling me what I wanted to hear, when what I really needed from AI was pushback and collaboration. So as a result, time and precious energy were wasted. And that's when I realized something. If you want AI to play devil's advocate or challenge your ideas and pressure test things, you have to explicitly tell it to. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you're a service-based professional and you have not raised your prices in 8, maybe 10 years. All that time, you've been absorbing higher vendor costs. You've been eating inflation. Your margins have gotten tighter. You're working harder. And you're thinking about raising your prices 20%. So you bring your idea to ChatGPT. You say, I'm thinking about increasing my prices by 20%. What do you think? Now, remember, by default, AI is usually going to be polite and agreeable. So AI tells you raising prices can signal confidence. It tells you clients often associate higher prices with higher value. AI tells you inflation justifies the increase. Sounds reasonable, right? It almost feels like AI is nudging you forward and encouraging you to just go ahead and do it. But notice what didn't happen. AI didn't challenge your timing. AI didn't ask how price sensitive your clients are. It didn't ask what happens if you lose 10 or 15% of your customers. And it didn't ask whether the 20% price increase would actually offset that loss. So in order to force AI into collaboration mode, you need to literally tell it, I want you to play devil's advocate. What if this 20% price increase is a bad idea? Help me pressure test it. What could go wrong? What am I missing? Now AI starts asking you, how many clients could you realistically lose and still be okay? And if you lost them, would the higher price actually make up the difference? Do you have the demand to justify a 20% price increase right now? Are there lower risk alternatives to improve margins? That's what pressure testing and collaboration looks like. Two completely different outcomes based on your explicit instructions to AI. Let's take a non-business example. Let's say you're thinking about buying a car. Maybe it's new, maybe it's used, maybe it's a lease. Either way, it's a big purchase. So you bring your idea to ChatGPT. You say, I'm thinking about buying this car. What do you think? And again, by default, AI is polite and agreeable. So it just helps you justify your decision. It talks about reliability. It highlights the car's features. It might even tell you that investing in a dependable newer vehicle is smart long-term thinking. So on the surface, everything sounds logical. It feels supportive. But remember, AI does not automatically play devil's advocate, especially when you really need it to. It doesn't automatically ask you things like, can you realistically afford this payment? Or what happens if your income changes? Or are you buying this out of need or impulse or ego? Have you priced out insurance and maintenance? And if it's an EV, have you factored in the cost of setting up charging? That's the difference between letting AI default to its normal politeness and agreeableness versus explicitly asking it to pressure test your idea. So here's the real issue. AI is powerful, but it's still just a tool. It is not your boss, it's not the co-owner of your business, and it's not some all-knowing authority sitting above you. Yes, AI is an amazing supercomputer, but when real money, time, or career decisions are on the line, you cannot afford to be passive. You have to lead the conversation, and you have to firmly tell AI what role to play. You're not looking for a cheerleader, you're looking for a sparring partner, someone that pushes back and challenges assumptions and forces you to think harder. And for a lot of people, this might feel a little weird because being firm and direct with AI can feel uncomfortable. Even though you know AI is a machine, the conversation still feels human. And most decent people are naturally polite. So there's a natural, almost inherent resistance to saying things to AI like, that's weak, push harder, or argue the other side, or tell me where this breaks. That's not how we normally talk. But this is where you have to flip the switch with AI when you need honesty and objectivity. You don't need to be rude or you don't need to be abrasive, but you do need to be clear and sometimes very direct. So when the decision actually matters, tell AI plainly, what's the strongest argument against this? What could go wrong? What am I missing? Respond as if your job depended on it. Like if you get this wrong, you are fired. It's not being harsh. AI doesn't have feelings. It's not going to get offended. It doesn't take anything personally, but you do need to give AI some direction, especially when the stakes are real. Because if you defer to AI like it's an all-knowing authority, you might follow advice that sounds smart, but quietly pushes you down the wrong path. Don't be afraid to lean in a little. Be clear and direct with AI. Tell AI to challenge you. Tell it to find holes. Tell it to argue the other side. Tell it to respond as if its job depended on getting this right. You're not going to hurt its feelings because when your time, your money, or your reputation are on the line, you need to get it right.